Hello and welcome to a new video on my channel. In this video we're gonna continue our journey to learn about animation, and today we're gonna take a look at transitions. Transitions are used to create animations when a view is inserted or removed from the UI. So let's get started. First of all, I already created the application and I have a details view of an attraction, healthy eating class in London, and we're gonna animate this when you click on a button. So let's wrap our text inside the VStack. Okay, now we're gonna add a button and the label will be show details. Okay, so inside the action we need to toggle a state variable, so let's declare that. So add state var show details, and it will be false by default. Okay, now inside the button we're gonna say self.show details and toggle. With this done, we'll add an if, so we'll say if show details, then we're gonna show the attraction details. The attraction details view has two properties, the attraction and a binding to a state variable. In our case it will be the show details state variable, and we're gonna need to send it as a binding, so we'll say attraction, and I already have an attraction array and I will choose one of the items. Okay, and let's send also the show details variable as a binding using the dollar notation. Save. And here we have an error because we need to return a single view. So let's wrap everything into a Z stack. Let's indent, and everything should compile. And yes, everything works. If we click on the show details, we should see the view, and yes, we see it. As you notice here, the X is a little bit too high, so let's fix that because I don't like it. Let me add 40 would be good. Okay, let's try that, and yes, it's visible. And when we click on the X, the view should disappear, and it does. Okay, so we created our basic setup for using transitions. To define the transition, we're gonna use the transition modifier that will receive a transition of type any transition. We can define one by hitting the dot, and we can select opacity, scale, slide, move, and offset. In this video I will cover a few of them, so let's select slide and let's try to see if it works. It seems that it doesn't. And why? Because we didn't tell swiftui to animate it. We can do this by using the animation modifier, and we'll say animation, and by default we're gonna use is in. Let's see if now the transition is animated. And as you can see, we have an animation, and the details page slides in nicely. If we click on the X, it slides in the opposite direction. This is the default behavior for slide. Move is similar to slide, but with move you can define the edge from which the transition will begin. So let's choose bottom, and when we click on show details, you will see the view comes from the bottom of the phone, and if we click on the X, it will slide back down. Okay, now let's try also opacity, and it is pretty obvious what it does, but let's see it. So as you can see, the view appears, and when you click, it disappears. But what if you want to create a custom transition? How can you do that? Let's say you want to slide the view from the bottom, and when it's removed, you want it to disappear on the right. So in order to create a reusable transition, we need to create an extension on any transition. So we're gonna say extension, any transition, and here we're gonna define our new transition. We'll say static and var, and we'll call this custom transition, and this will be of type any transition, and we'll need to return on any transition type. So we'll say any transition dot asymmetric, and here we need to define the transition for the insertion and the transition for the removal. For the insertion, we're gonna say move, and we're gonna select the bottom edge, and for the removal we're gonna select also move, but from the trailing edge. Okay, and here we'll just say dot, and you can see now we have our custom transition here. Let's hit resume, and let's click on show details, and the view is inserted from the bottom of the screen, and when we close it, it leaves the screen from the right. And you can play with this and create very nice transitions. And it's not all. And here you can combine more transitions. So here you need to say any transition, and you have here combine. And let's say you're gonna use offset, and at insertion you will move it to x minus 100, and you will see that now it comes from the bottom left edge. If you add 300 here, it will be more clear, and you can combine them and delay them. So this is it for this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, don't forget to hit the like button, and if you want to receive more news from my side, hit the subscribe button. Until the next time, I wish you all the best.